daddy's cow and he put it in your hiney? Show me where your hiney is, sweetie. With that, the little girl places her hand under her underwear over her vaginal area. Dr. Kleinman, but that's underwear. Oh, did he do it on your underwear or underneath your underwear? Underneath my underwear. Underneath your underwear he did that. Little girl nods yes. Did he do that one time or more than one time? Answer, more than one time. Despite this tape, the Attorney General pursued this case with renewed vigor and without regard to either ethics or truth. As but one example, the new deputy attempted to cover up the fact that her prime expert had previously issued a report wherein he admitted that he lacked any expertise in most of the areas in which he opined. Yet years later, he issued a second report, nearly identical, but with one critical difference. The new report lacked the disclaimer about his lack of expertise, and in the new report, he now claimed to be an expert. Not surprisingly, it was only the second report that was produced in discovery. When we learned of the first report, the deputy baldly lied and said it was only a draft and couldn't be used as evidence. A draft signed by the expert and given to the Board of Psychological Examiners as part of its case against Dr. Kleinman? Give us a break. Didn't take the judge long to decide this was no draft. This was an initial report. The deputy was baldly lying. This is the deputy sworn to further the good of the state of New Jersey. And instead, she baldly lies to protect her position and her expert, obviously with the approval of our Attorney General. The Attorney General's attempt to hide the facts continue to this day. We continue to fight to obtain copies of DIFAS materials, which we believe will prove that the same father has abused his other children, and they continue to fight our ability to get this. Who are they protecting? Obviously not the children of New Jersey. One then has to ask why. Why the cover-up? Why the lies? Why the protection of this father, who long before Dr. Kleinman became involved in this case, had already convinced one judge that he likely engaged in wrongdoing, in large part based upon a nearly 100-page report by the court's appointed guardian ad litem? The answer, unfortunately, appears simple. The Attorney General was pursuing the father for child abuse. Once she decided to charge Dr. Kleinman, she had to drop the charges against the father. If now she were to drop the charges against Dr. Kleinman, it would prove that she allowed a father charged with abuse of his child to go free. In an election year, Ann Milgram wasn't willing to take that risk, regardless of truth. While this case is certainly about Dr. Kleinman and a child likely abused by her father, this case is also about every other child in this state, and indeed in this country, who may have been abused, who is currently being abused, or may be abused in the future. As a result of the charges brought against Dr. Kleinman, a psychologist or other mental health professional would be a fool to risk his or her career to opine that a father had sexually abused his child. As a result, courts are finding it more and more difficult to find psychologists willing to render an opinion that a child has been abused. Because of this, more and more children will continue to be abused, and more fathers will escape punishment. Psychologists must be protected from this political mayhem. We call upon the next Attorney General, as one of his or her first duties, to take a fresh look at this outrageous case. We believe that a fresh look will not only demonstrate that Dr. Kleinman must be exonerated, but should result in the immediate termination of those in the Attorney General's office who are responsible for this continued perversion of justice. We know that Governor-elect Christie has no tolerance for political corruption. We have every hope that his fight against corruption will extend to a review of the Attorney General's office he will be inheriting, and we hope that a fresh look will result in the withdrawal of these absolutely outrageous charges against Dr. Kleinman. On behalf of Dr. Kleinman, thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. I only wish we had some press here to share this story with, but we need to get the message out, and we need to get the message out quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.